Hi everyone, here's another Shimpaku video. Now this tree is much more advanced and it's already in a bonsai pot, ready for, I guess, looking at a front and an initial styling that's possible in the future. Now you can have a squeeze with this. This is a much more advanced tree, much thicker, trunk base, roots are nice and spread. Now, I've actually put lots of bends in this in the past. Now you can see this kind of material has been developed over like a 5-year period from a young little piece of stock like you saw before in a previous video. Now, from pencil thickness to this in 5 years with bends and twists and turns, that's what you're looking at. Now this tree has its challenges. I'm still not sure what the future vision of this tree is in the future front and what eventually it will look like. But I don't just stop. I will actually look at this and go, okay, what I'm thinking, some of these branches we can actually wire down. I do like this first nice twisted, nicely slightly bent first branch, I guess you can say, or a little slightly semi-cascade branch there. Looks quite nice. This bit is a little annoying here. I don't know if you can see that clear. It's a little straight there, whereas everything else is quite twisty and turny. And then you got a nice bend up here and a bend up here and then twist to this apex. Now I have developed this little branch a bit further because what I want is this guy to be twisted probably down and create a little apex in there, and that will probably be the height of the tree. That's one idea. Now this guy, I don't want to lose it. So what I'm thinking is I can actually try and let's compress that further just with some guy wires maybe, and get some interest and maybe see if that changes things or develops into something. We can twist that down further. Do we go below the horizontal, just slightly above the horizontal? Yeah, so there's lots of questions on this tree. Then at the back we've got a nice interesting twisted younger piece of younger branch. Now on this side, there's this really ugly nub here that I could deal with, but there's not much interest on this side. The whole tree's on the other side. I mean, I can try and bend and twist it around, play with your trees, look at them at different angles, different sides, different aspects, try and see different different ways to view the tree. But this is now into the next stage of development. You've done most of the twists and bends. There's a few still developing, so you leave them alone. But now you try and figure out where your front's going to be on this tree, where your branches are going to be placed, things like that. So, but it still needs a bit more development, this tree. So I will probably just try and get some wire on this guy, and try and bend a few bits and pieces into place and see how the tree comes up. So that would be the intention of this. You can see that I've actually started to use, I don't know if you can see that, but that's copper wire now because I was starting to develop the tree in place. So some bits of copper, whereas at the back here, this is still aluminium because I'm putting the big bends and twists into the tree. I find it much easier to use aluminium to do those big bends and twists. So let's have a look. Let's give it a go and see what we come up with today. Okay, so I'm going to deal with this guy first. Now, I'm not going to put a big heavy gauge on there. I'm just going to tie this to this deadwood here. See, this is a deadwood. It's pretty firm, pretty solid, pretty hard. So what I like to try and do is I'm not fussed about the trunk at the moment and hurting it or damaging it. I like to see, junipers need to have deadwood anyway. So I would just probably try and use a guy wire or just a tie and tie this up. I'm just using aluminium in this case, and just twisting that into place just to hold it. So just for now. So it's brought it, you can probably see it's brought it down a little, and now I'll try and do the same thing to this bit. Now you can put tubing on to protect it, but I'm developing this tree, so if they come up with nice sort of scars and a bit of deadwood there, it's probably a bonus, I'd say. Be a bit more interesting. So, you know, what was something that was up here a bit further earlier, now it's much more closer down here. So, you know, we could use that in the future. I'm not sure, but I just want to have the option in the future to see what happens with that piece of that area of the tree. Now I'll probably get this guy down. I'll try and show you how I want to position that and develop that over time to create the new apex. I think that's what I would like to do with this, but that's one idea I've got. Might not work out in the future, or might, you know, so we can try to change things a few bits and pieces, but yeah, we'll try that out and see how that works. Now it's important to always plan the direction you want to bend the tree or bend the branch. So Bjorn taught me very well that wherever the cut end is pointing when underneath the branch, so when you if you finish the branch this way and the wire is pointing this way underneath, that's the direction you need to bend the branch. If it's the other way and the bottom wire, the end is pointing that way, that's the way you want to bend that branch. So in this case, I want to bend it this way. So I'm going to have to go clockwise to do that on this branch. So when I start to wire this branch up, I'll have to go clockwise. I'm just going to anchor this to a back branch here that I want to put some bends in, because I might want to. That would be an interesting tree in the future, interesting branch possibly in the future. So I'm just going to anchor that to that branch there. I'm still using aluminium at the moment because I want to try and get those bends and twists in. I'm not at the refinement stage, whereas some of the branches could be in refinement, like this guy down here. So I want to go that way, so I'll make sure I go clockwise. So I wired it. Now you can see I'll show you. If the cut end was, I'll just shorten that up. So the cut end here underneath is pointing this way, meaning I'm going to be bending eventually the branch this way. Okay, so firstly I will actually want to go a bit that way, and then my idea is this will eventually come back this way. So it's not a huge bend, but you'll see what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to do is, so eventually this area here would create a nice apex in there. So I'm just trying to twist that and bend that and get that round. Probably could have used a slightly heavier gauge, but that's going to do the job for now. You can see what I'm trying to. Hopefully, you can see what I'm trying to say. So, if we put an apex in here, you know, a nice top of the tree. Eventually, this could be one of the branches just sits nicely in there, and then that's my thinking. That will be the apex there. Now, that could be the whole tree. Could actually just be that there. You know, that's an idea there. That looks really interesting. Having a developed tree there. All this could be deadwood. That's a nice idea. That's probably something I like. Actually, let me have a quick look. Yeah, that's looking possibility there in the future. This could all be dead, and that could be all just the living side. That will look actually really quite nice and spectacular. But you don't know these things until you start sometimes working on a tree. Unless you're a bonsai professional, you know, who's trained in Japan for 8 years, 10 years, or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff, who just see the vision of the tree and do it straight away and execute straight away. So I'm not like that. I like to just plan my trees out, do it bit by bit, until I'm sure of the style I want to achieve and so on. So, you know, that's what we need to develop over the next year and see how that comes out. This will see what happens here. I mean, there's an interesting tree even here on this side. You know, you could have a tree in this direction as well. So lots of options still, without knowing exactly which way we're going to go. I like to keep options open. It's good. It's good to have options. So what I probably want to do is maybe actually start wiring this branch out now, just to see how it would look and get a feeling of what the tree could look like. So yeah, more development, but it's starting to get there, this tree. So my plan is just to wire this guy out, this branch here, this first branch down here. Just wire that out with copper wire I'll be using, because I want to set the branches into place now. And yeah, I could do that with copper now. It might look good. So because I think this branch is ready and I'm going to keep it, let's get some movement into these little smaller branches now, to make sure we got the movement. It's not having straight branches. Last thing you want is straight branches, straight sub branches and twigs when he got such a twisty and interesting trunk. So I'll probably just wire this up and come back and show you how I probably set all the branches once I've wired it up. It's kind of boring to watch wiring, so I'll just wire it up and then I'll come back and we'll set where they go into position. Okay, so I've just finished wiring this branch here. I haven't placed anything. What I also did is I found that at the back here there was this nice branch here that I've also just wired out as well. So it just took me a bit longer than expected to wire all this out. I do hope to keep that as a back branch, this as your cascading branch, and then develop this as the new apex. I've got some branching in here which I will tweak and put into this place. Hopefully it develops over time as well. But now it's a matter of just setting these branches in place. It's always fun to do that. And then just styling the tree. So I'll have to look at the tree front on to see where I want to place branches, etc. I just want to put these guys back here. That'll fill in. So there's a couple of branches here at the back of this apex that I found earlier that I wired the trunk to. So I'm just bringing them now and putting them in a spot that will fill. There's a bit of a void at the back, in the back here. There's a bit of a void here. So these will fill this gap quite nicely in the future, and I'll develop those into some branches there. So let's just set some of these guys up. Now I just want to put some slight bends into, nothing too crazy, but just some slight nice movement into some of these branches. And when you got nice copper on there, and it's thick enough, pretty much once you bend it and set it, it's not going to move anytime soon. So copper's really good for that. I'm just looking. I might have to wire some of the sub branches, not all of them, because it does look messy. I also try and clean up underneath, anything that dangles underneath in terms of the foliage, because we don't want foliage that dangles under. They'll never be used in the future. Looks messy. So I do notice now some of the branches are way too long, so I'm going to come in, take the apex out of some of those to reduce them. Because now we're not looking for length, we're actually looking to compact and bring a lot of the foliage back in to create the pad. So you can see starting to form that pad up on this lower branch. I missed a couple of little wires on these little guys. I'm not too fussed about that. As long as I get the main branches wired, that's more important. So now it's just a little bit of a, I'm not going to go too picky with that, but yeah. So just trying to form a pad, trying to create another layer here and another layer here in here. So you have like a bottom layer, then another layer, trying to do another layer on top, but still it's got to fill out a bit more. This branch probably needs some of these sub branches wide. You can see they're just jutting out everywhere and ruining the look and shape, but that'll be a nice branch there in there. That guy's probably not needed, so we get rid of him because this guy will fill that void. I just got to wire this guy, I missed him, but that's okay. And that will just develop over time now. So that's a basic wiring of this branch. That's all it really needs just for now, because next time we come around, that will be refined further while we start to build the rest of the tree up. Now at the back here, I'll just tweak these branches into shape now that I have positioned that first branch. So I know where some of these branches will go now. So yeah, so at least it's a start on this tree. Now we just started this side of the tree in terms of wiring, but that will develop and finish faster than what we do with the rest of the tree. Now it's the apex that we need to work on in the future. I still think, yeah, it could be a full tree. I mean, we could actually, this is actually looking nice down here as a branch here. We could create some deadwood features in here and then build an apex in here. It'll look interesting too. Yeah, I think this is going to be a real ripper tree, but it takes time, so don't rush it. Do what you can, work on what you can. I might put some fine wire on some of these smaller twigs. It's annoying me at the moment, but that's pretty much all I will do with this tree. I will let some of these branches set in the next 6 months and see what happens then. Then we might start could beginning and shari the process, and I'll take you through that. I won't miss that video. That'll be a good one. But yeah, at least this will start to form the basis of the tree. Let this fill out, and then have a look at it in the future. I mean, you don't have to do it in one day. You don't have to complete start to finish. That's just ridiculous. You develop trees over time. If they're not ready, they're not ready. But if certain parts are ready, that's what I do. But that's my opinion and that's my experience. Again, please note, I am not trained overseas. I'm not trained by an international. I'm not trained in Japan or anything like that. I just do this because I enjoy it over the last 20 years. And I enjoy learning from whoever comes out to Australia and visits us and some of the experts in Australia. And that's how I've learned. And pretty much just experience, just playing around with trees and playing around with all different species. What happened is I eventually just fell in love with tridents, black pines and pines in general, and the Shimpaku junipers. And that's pretty much what I stick to these days, with an odd exception here and there. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. I think this tree is going to be a great little tree in the future. I think give it 3 to 5 years, this should be in a show, I'd say. It will look quite spectacular. I do see a good future with this tree. Again, hope you enjoyed this video. As always, please subscribe and like my videos to get notifications in the future. Thanks everyone.